Hello guys, welcome back to NHL Rumor Roundup, the show where we discuss the big rumors across the entire NHL. This time we're going to be discussing the latest on Nikita Gusev, Brock Boeser, Taylor Hall, the Chicago Blackhawks, and the Calgary Flames. Even though the NHL offseason is in full swing, we're still getting a bunch of hot new NHL rumors to talk about. So what are the latest on Nikita Gusev, Taylor Hall, Brock Boeser, the Flames, and the Blackhawks? Watch till the end to find out. Now, I will admit, there's a lot more to talk about right now than I initially expected. Right now, we're about a 1 week removed from the NHL free agency start, but there's still a lot of guys that are unsigned and a lot of potential trades that we might see. The first player we'll talk about is a player that has a very good chance getting traded this offseason, and that is Nikita Gusev. The latest on him is very fascinating because there's a lot of NHL interest around him, and for good reason. This past season, he played in the KHL with SKA St. Petersburg, was an absolute beast, put up like a 1.38 goals game, or points per game in the KHL, which is absolutely elite. Ended up signing the Vegas Golden Knights late in the season in the playoffs, didn't end up playing a game. He was a luxury that Vegas wanted to have in that playoff run, a playoff run that really didn't end up happening. Obviously, with the controversial Cody Eakin thing, that was the whole result of it. But when it comes to Gusev, he's an RFA for Vegas, and again, a luxury that they can't afford right now. They have basically virtually no cap space. Right now, they have $0 in cap space. So the likely chance that Gusev gets traded is pretty much a 100% chance, and a lot of teams want that kind of luxury. As a 26-year-old this past season in the KHL, Gusev ended up putting home 82 points in 62 games. And for that young little player in his prime, that is absolutely elite numbers. SKA sure is a fantastic team, but Gusev was one of the main reasons why they were that good. And a lot of teams in NHL I think could definitely use him. While he hasn't played an NHL game yet, I think he could be a very valuable piece and at least a middle six forward on a lot of NHL teams. Again, the hype on Gusev was so sky high, especially when they signed him. Again, Vegas was probably going to go on the playoff run before that whole Cody Eakin situation, and if he did end up going on that playoff run, I think he would have gotten a lot of playing time, a lot of different opportunities, and we would have no doubt on Nikita Gusev. But there's a little bit of mystery around him right now, but I think a lot of NHL teams still want his services, and rightfully so. Thanks to Jesse Granger of The Athletic, we do know what the Vegas Golden Knights are asking in return for Nikita Gusev trade. Now, right now, a lot of the recent trade talks, Vegas has been asking for a second-round pick, a low-tier prospect, and a late pick, probably in the 6 to 7 round range. I think that's perfectly reasonable for a guy like Nikita Gusev, who has so much potential right now in the prime of his career. Yes, he hasn't played an NHL game, and that's probably one of the main reasons why teams are reluctant to get him, but 82 points in the KHL. He wasn't a fantastic team, but those are super impressive stats, and if I'm an NHL GM, it's almost a no-brainer. Thanks to Stephen Ellis of the Hockey News, we know of 5 NHL teams that are pursuing him and asking for him right now. Now, those 5 NHL teams include the Montreal Canadiens, the Columbus Blue Jackets, the New Jersey Devils, the Ottawa Senators, and lastly, the Edmonton Oilers. And those are some very fascinating options. You have teams that have no cap space, teams that have some cap space, so there is a lot of variety there. But I think he will get traded eventually, if not in the next week, probably in the next couple of weeks. Now, for the next player in the rumor roundup, we have Brock Boeser and his very interesting RFA situation. Now, when it comes to Brock Boeser and the Vancouver Canucks, we've been seeing relatively quiet reports on the contract negotiations, what he wants in AAV, what the term might be, but we finally get some new information, and it's good news for both Brock Boeser and Vancouver. Especially at the beginning of the offseason, we really didn't hear too much on Boeser and Vancouver and how negotiations were really going, whether it was good, whether it was bad. But right now it's safe to say that both Vancouver and Brock Boeser are heading into a much better direction, and they progressed quite a bit on a potential contract. Now, Ben Kuzma of TSN Vancouver gave us a big bomb on what this contract could potentially look like. And we still don't know the range of the AAV or the money on the salary, on the contract, whatever it might be, but we do know a dialed-in lock into what the years will be. Now, Kuzma reports that the Brock Boeser camp has pretty much agreed with Vancouver on a 4-year deal. Again, we don't know what the money is actually on that, but expect that to be a 4-year deal, and again, take him until his mid-20s right there, probably being a UFA after that, I would assume, and for Brock Boeser, it'll probably be in the 6.5, probably 7 million territory. For the Vancouver Canucks, that contract would end up ending the same time as Bo Horvat and JT Miller, so especially with the Bo Horvat situation, it might create a little bit of problems there, especially cap-wise, but I think it will be down the line. Of course, for Vancouver, I'm not sure if they're worrying about that completely. Now, when it comes to Vancouver, again, I think that contract will be around the $6.5, $7 million range compared to what some other guys got in the past. I think that's a great deal for Brock Boeser. Again, he was a little bit banged up throughout the whole season. He wasn't 100% most of the time, and he had a little bit of a lackluster season, but still was very, very good offensively. I think next season we'll see a little bit of a resurgence in him too. We'll see his prime start to really take shape. I think that contract will be worth it, especially if it's $6.5 million. It might be a little bit of a steal. And the next player in the rumor roundup is Taylor Hall, and he has a very interesting situation when it comes to his whole contract negotiations with the New Jersey Devils. Now, this has been an ongoing thing for the past couple of months, really. When it came to the initial negotiations, Taylor Hall wanted a stronger team to play around. He was concerned with the future of the direction of the team and the team itself on the ice. But since then, the New Jersey Devils have done everything in their power to turn the franchise around, and they've done a pretty good job of that. Getting guys like PK Subban and Jack Hughes ain't bad at all. Now, after the Devils ended up acquiring PK Subban, Taylor Hall had this to say: I think the addition of PK adds to our talents level and the skill level of our team. As a player in the offseason, that's what you want to see. So it's exciting. And it is excellent, pretty much music in the ears of the New Jersey Devils. And for a guy like Ray Shero, who needs to keep his job as most as possible, re-signing Taylor Hall, especially to a long-term extension, should be priority number one for New Jersey. And that's a good sign right there. Again, getting PK Subban, an excellent name. Getting Jack Hughes, an excellent name too. It seems to have worked on Taylor Hall's side, and right now is looking like he might be re-signing as soon as this offseason. Now, Taylor Hall does end up going to the free agent market in 2020. It's seeming like his wallet might get seriously filled. Now, Larry Brooks does end up reporting that if he does go to the open market and does go to free agency, he might get offers upwards of $13 million, which would make him the highest paid NHL player in the entire NHL, of course, over Connor McDavid, which is serious business. Connor McDavid, who was almost his teammate right there. And Taylor Hall has that pedigree. He just won an MVP last season pretty much. And again, he has that name value. He has that branding. But I don't think he's worth $13 million. I'm not even sure if he's worth $12 or $11 million right now. He hasn't proven himself, especially last season, having that brutal injury. It's going to be interesting to see what he ends up getting. But the New Jersey Devils would love to get him locked up. And right now, that seems like the most likely bet. If the New Jersey Devils don't end up making progress next season, I could easily see Taylor Hall going away and saying bye-bye. It could easily happen if the New Jersey Devils don't take that next step. Yes, they do have Jack Hughes, PK Subban, they have those names right there. But if New Jersey doesn't make obvious progress and at least make themselves a contender for the playoffs, I could see Taylor Hall easily going out of there. Again, he's already made threats of leaving the team if the team doesn't improve. And if it doesn't happen next season, I can see it definitely happening. And again, if he does get a $13 million offer in UFA in free agency, why wouldn't he just leave New Jersey and accept that? The next rumor roundup we have is on the Calgary Flames and a lot of situations they have right now to deal with in a short time span. Now, the first two have been on Travis Hamonic and TJ Brodie, two defensemen that Calgary has been rumored to trade for the past couple of months, but it hasn't happened up to this point. Brad Treliving came out and said that he wants to get rid of cap space. He wants to dump some contracts. He likely is talking about Hamonic and TJ Brodie. It's pretty much confirmed at this point. But right now, it doesn't seem like there's many trade partners out there, and of course, we haven't seen a trade actually happen, which up to this point is very surprising. And both of those two defensemen, especially in the past couple of years, have not worked out too great for Calgary. Ever since Travis Hamonic was acquired by Calgary, it's pretty much been a disaster for him. He was nowhere near what he was with the New York Islanders, and just hasn't really panned out whatsoever. Brodie, back a couple of years ago, was a very solid defenseman on his way up, but since then is a little bit of a defensive pylon and hasn't really improved on himself in the past couple of years. Those two defensemen in Calgary should trade, and they are trying to trade, which I think is smart for them. They obviously gave up a big cost to get a guy like Hamonic, but they're not doubling down, which I think is smart for them. And again, they want to clear some of that cap space. And right now, those two guys go upwards of $8 or $9 million. So it is a smart move for them to get rid of those guys, but right now, it might seem unlikely. The big reason why both defensemen haven't been traded up to this point is, simply put, teams don't really want them anymore, and for good reason. They aren't great defensemen anymore. They are certainly not worth those kind of contracts, and Calgary realized that, but so did all the other 30 NHL teams. So finding a trade partner for them has been difficult, and I can definitely see why. But for the Calgary Flames, if they aren't able to get rid of at least one of those contracts, I would say they're in pretty deep trouble. Again, those two contracts are pretty much anchors on the team right now, and they would love to get rid of. I think it will happen if they do find a trade partner, but right now, it's just not a great fit. The next team in the rumor roundup we have is Chicago Blackhawks, and their fascinating situation. Right now, they have $1 million in cap space. Not a lot of flexibility, but Chicago wants to get that flexibility and possibly make another trade or get a free agent. Right now, Chicago made their free agent moves, they made their signings, but right now, they aren't done. Now, Charlie Lotus of NBCSN Sports of Chicago ended up saying that the Chicago Blackhawks' next step is trading Artem Anisimov. Now, we've seen his name thrown out in the past couple of years as a big guy that Chicago wants to trade, but right now it's seeming a lot more likely, and a lot more teams might have interest in him. Again, we saw his bonus be paid out on the free agent cycle. Right now, he doesn't really expend too much, and is a decent player still. He had a little bit of a rebound season with Chicago offensively, and can still provide value. Now, Anisimov has $4.5 million for 2 more years on his contract. Certainly not worth what he is right now, but can be a decent player, especially for a team that needs to get to that cap floor. And there definitely is some teams out there. You could just list the Ottawa Senators as a potential option, and I can definitely see that as a fit. For Chicago, trading Artem Anisimov, I think, is one of their highest priorities right now, as it should be. Getting that contract to the books, I think, is a huge one for them, and one that they want to get rid of. He's a solid NHL player, but right now, definitely not worth that contract. But Stan Bowman, if he's able to get rid of him for maybe even a couple of picks, that would be a huge success. Well, we've been down the road of Artem Anisimov rumors, and all we've seen over the past couple of years, I think it's a very likely chance to happen. For Chicago, getting that contract to the books, and maybe signing a free agent, maybe a guy like Ryan Dzingel, I think is the moves they want to make right now. And I think it is definitely likely to happen. Chicago, again, getting that cap space off the books, I think would be a very smart move for them, and they want to be able to do that. Right now, it is very likely, and it also might be very close to happening too. I wouldn't be surprised if we see a trade like that happen in the next couple of weeks. So far in the NHL offseason, it really hasn't disappointed when it comes to NHL rumors. While guys like Bob McKenzie, Pierre LeBrun are all taking their vacations, there's still a lot happening around the NHL. So don't be surprised if we see some big trades happen in the next couple of weeks as teams want to free up cap space, take some cap space in, and of course, improve their team. But of course, with this video, I need to hear your guys' thoughts down in the comments down below. So let me know, what are your thoughts on all the players I mentioned in this video? What do you think about the latest rumors on Brock Boeser, Taylor Hall, Nikita Gusev, and of course, what do you think about the rumors on the Calgary Flames and the Chicago Blackhawks? But if you guys want some more Grav videos just like this one, you can click on this card right here to watch my video on Mitch Marner and the potential offer sheet that could happen very soon. But that'll be it for today, guys. If you guys did enjoy, make sure you hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and hit that notification bell if you haven't already. Again, comment down below your thoughts on the latest rumors we talked about in this NHL rumor roundup, and I'll see you guys next video or stream. Goodbye.